December 3rd, 1967. In a quiet operating theatre in Cape Town, South Africa, history was about to be written. For the very first time, a human heart was transplanted into another human being. This daring operation, led by a relatively unknown surgeon, Christian Bernard, would make headlines overnight, turning medicine into front page news. In 2017, the world celebrated the 50th anniversary of this groundbreaking achievement. But who was Chris Bernard? How did he dare to attempt something no one else had achieved? And what happened to patients who received these hearts? Christian Bernard was born in 1922 in a small South African town called Beaufort West. His family lived modestly. His father, a minister, dedicated most of his energy to caring for the poor and mixed race community during apartheid. Despite financial struggles, Chris excelled in school and earned scholarship to study medicine at University of Cape Town. After years of grueling study, he graduated in 1946. His early career wasn't glamorous. He worked in small-town general practice while raising two young children, but Bernard's ambition kept pushing him forward. Everything changed when he won a scholarship to train at University of Minnesota in the United States. There he worked with pioneers of open heart surgery and for the very first time witnessed the revolutionary heart-lung machine. Bernard quickly realized that one day replacing a failing human heart might be possible. Returning to South Africa with a donated pump oxygenator, he began building a heart surgery program at Groote Schuur Hospital. So his team was achieving world-class results. By the mid-1960s, Bernard was convinced transplantation was the future. With his brother, Marius, also surgeon, he practiced heart transplant in dogs. He then trained in kidney transplantation to learn about immunosuppressive therapy, the key to preventing organ rejection. Everything was in place. Now all was needed is a patient and a donor. The patient was Louis Weschansky, a 53-year-old grocer with end-stage heart failure. He had no chance of survival without a new heart. On December 2nd, 1967, a tragedy struck elsewhere in the Cape Town. A young woman named Tennessee Terrell suffered fatal brain injuries in a car accident. With her father's consent, her heart would give Louis Weschansky a second chance. In early hours of December 3rd, Bernard began the world's first human heart transplant. He later recalled, "For the first time in my life, I stared into an empty chest. At that moment, the full impact of what I was attempting became clear to me." After hours of delicate surgery, the donor heart finally began to beat inside the Weschansky's heart. The impossible had been achieved. News of operation spread like a wildfire. Within hours, Groote Schuur Hospital was surrounded by journalists. Bernard overnight became a global celebrity. Louis Weschansky survived for 18 days before dying of pneumonia. Ironically, not because his body rejected the new heart, but due to infection from heavy immunosuppressive drugs. Still, the breakthrough would not be undone. Bernard's second patient, Philip Bleberg, lived for 19 months. Later, patients survived for over a decade, with one living for more than 23 years after the transplantation. Bernard continued innovating, even developing the heterotopic piggyback transplant, where donor heart was added alongside the patient's failing one. But beyond the technical achievements, Bernard symbolized courage. He dared to attempt what others only dreamt of. Christian Bernard's story inspired generations of surgeons, and it showed that world that sometimes progress requires boldness, risk, and vision. From a modest childhood in a small South African town to a stage of world history, Christian Bernard will always be remembered as the man who gave humanity its first transplant heartbeat. And that heartbeat still echoes in every transplant performed today.